Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 校友、老師、學生 and friends， 好歡迎你哋 join 我哋嘅 Happy Hour。咁今日咧，我哋嘅 Happy Hour 咧，我哋係preparations for fundraising， and this is looking from it from the point of view of a company or the founder or CEO of the company. Give you a background of myself. I have over 30 years experience in early stage of venture capital and even PE buyout in USA, China, Singapore, and Hong Kong. And currently now I'm the head of venture acceleration in ORKTS. I'm also the head of PI Center, a project director for Center for Entrepreneurship, and I am a fellow of the Institute of Directors. I'm the former Chief Investment Officer of Eagle Right Investment, it's listed in Hong Kong, General Manager of Tencent, Shenzhen Investment, and a Senior Director, Head of PEVC in Huawei Technology. Before that, I was a General Manager in Shenzhen Capital Group. Shenzhen Capital Group is a Shenzhen 创新投资. So my background is a physics degree from NUS and a master's degree in communications engineering from Bradford, UK. So that's my background. So the next topic, after you know my background, I want to just briefly tell you about the role of the CEO and founder in the company. First, the CEO or founder must provide the leadership and management of the company. Next, the business development is very important for a startup company. So what I mean by that, the CEO must know the market and the customers very well. The CEO himself and not his key other members of the team. Team building. This is one of the major tasks of a CEO and founder of the company, to build a team to execute the business plan. Fundraising, this is a very important role as well because the whole company depends on the CEO to bring in the funds to continue to grow the company. Now, this part is not often highlighted by many people. Shareholders relationship. The CEO has to maintain and keep shareholders or investors updated and supportive of the business plan. This is very important. Shareholders are very important group of people that the founder and the CEO should take good care of them so that they are all on the same page. So now I have told you about the role of the CEO and founder in the startup. Let's move on to in the stages of startup. 初期嘅公司最初期嘅係 seed or angel round。咁樣咧，你喺呢個咁早嘅期準備咧，你要愛知道喺邊度揾到基金。So using this money to start the operation at the seed stage is very important, and you need to have this amount of money to actualize your business plan. So we call it the seed or angel round. So at this stage, it is very important that you look for family, friends, or government sources for funding to help you to start, because it's very difficult to get funding. So in order to know or to get funded successfully, the stages of a startup is very important. Here I highlighted 4 stages: seed angel, pre-A, series A, and series B. Of course, you can go on to series C and series D and hopefully IPO. But we will focus today on first 4 stages. And all CEOs or founders must understand the stages so that they are very clear on the road ahead or the journey ahead. Pre-series. Pre-series A require funding to accelerate the product and services. This is to bridge the seed round and Series A round. And this is necessary because you are not able to have any sales yet. Or maybe you just did one sales, but not significant. So at this stage, you are still trying to prove that your product is acceptable to customers. And this is key. Your products must be acceptable to customers. That means customers are willing to spend money to buy your product. Okay? So that's pre-Series A. And Series A is when there's a track record. That means some customers are buying your products, but still not significant. And the startup would like to seek funding for increasing the customer base and optimizing the products and increasing the product offering. So this is the stage where you have some customers and you want to expand the number of customers and also to increase the product offering so that you are able to be a viable company later on. So how come you can increase the product offering now? It's because as you interact with the customers, you begin to understand the market even better at this stage. So this is a critical stage, Series A. And from seed, pre-A, and Series A, the investors are all different. So bear that in mind. It is important that you understand that you cannot get investors who is investing at late stage Series D or pre-IPO to look at your company if you are raising Series A. They will immediately tell you, wow, your company is lousy, even though they don't understand. Okay, the next stage is Series B. Here, the startup company completed the development stage with a larger user base and proof that there is a big market, okay? Because they are able to put in the products with different customers. And the startup now requires the investor help to expand the market and add more products to the distribution channel. So this is Series B. And Series B investors are plentiful in Hong Kong, and even China, because the risk is much lower now. So more investors are willing or daring to invest in this round. So the critical stage is seed, pre-A, and Series A. Many companies fail in these three stages because they can't find the right investors for this stage. But in understanding what you need to do in preparing would help you a lot. Okay, now you know the stages. What are the things to help you to prepare the company for fundraising? So I call this readiness in seeking funding. So readiness in seeking funding would have two things to keep in mind: stages and milestone. That means what stage the company is in and the milestones completed. The first thing you need to know is your product. Where is it? Is it at proof of concept, MVP completed, prototype testing, samples with customers, mass production ready, as customers are now able to accept your products? So this, you have to be very clear when you're at which stage you are able to raise funds. If you're at POC, it's very difficult, okay? There is a lot of help from government and even incubators and so on. MVP completed, you are ready for seed investor or angel investor. And if you go further down, that means prototype testing, samples with customers, you will get more and more people interested in that sense. So your product, where is it now? Be very clear, okay? So the stages of funding, is dependent on this. Next, your team. Where is your team? Team building and composition, that means the CEO, co-founders, and the other staff. How are you going to execute your business plan? The team hired or set up or built can execute the plan that you show to the investor. How complete is your team to execute this plan? You have to be very clear. Example, if you know you need to expand the market, you make sure you have the right business development or sales people in your team to bring your products to the market that you want to hit. Are your key members updated and synchronized with you? So this is also very critical. The investor will talk to your team, and if the information they got from your team is different from you, then they realize that something wrong with your team, something wrong with the CEO, not communicating well. The team is not on the same page. So think about that. Make sure the key members in the team are all in line with you. Market. What is the competitive landscape like? That means how are the competitors doing with respect to you? How is your product compared to them? Next, are you at the launch to market stage? If you are, how are you going to launch your product to the market? And this is also critical because if you are at the launch to market stage, it means that your resources are very limited. How are you going to leverage all the resources you have to bring it to market? And if you are able to be successful in bringing it to market, then you are able to attract more resources. So 一個好重要嘅嘢係你第一次帶嘅產品落去市場，你會唔會影響？即係影響嘅意思，即係講話你俾人哋知道你可以入到市場，好多人歡迎你嘅產品，咁樣投資者睇到佢嘅興趣會好高，同埋你可以拉攏好多資源嚟幫手啦。呢個係好重要，因為你資源最少㗎啦，你係創業公司，你要有一個 good launch to market plan， 引啲資源嚟幫手。Okay? Next, is your customer ready? How ready is your customer? How many customers do you have? How are you going to scale up the customer base? So these are the things when you are in a startup, you have to think all the time. And it is a challenge. Okay? It's not so easy. Okay, if you are heavily or in deep tech, technology due diligence is part of the due diligence that investors will do when they look at your company. And especially at seed stage, any papers published, and what are the competing technologies in the market or up and coming soon. Be sure that you know all this. The current stage of your startup is very critical to know where to look for investors. So at the same time when you look for investors, 你都要調查佢哋，你唔得俾佢哋調查你啫，你都要調查佢哋。做咩要調查佢哋？你知唔知道佢有冇投咗你嘅競爭者？係佢投咗你競爭者，佢嚟調查你，我話你好蝕底喎，咩嘢你俾佢哋睇晒，咁佢會通知佢嘅 portfolio company 啦，咁你嘅競爭者咪知道晒你啲資料咯。所以你一定要調查，即係講話查佢哋有冇投過你嗰啲競爭者，咁你都要了解佢一次佢投資嗰陣時咧，投資幾多？係佢可以投資100萬，你需要500萬， 咁你冇揾佢先，你揾嗰啲可以投多啲嘅先。咁佢可唔可以做 lead investor? What is his understanding of your market and technology? These are some of the things you need to find out from your potential investor. And if you can find out, you can see how they can help you. If you understand your technology very well, I believe they can help you more. If they understand your market very well, he can help you in reaching out to your customers. So that's the thing you have to be careful. Okay, there are a few other things to consider and to prepare. Founders' equity sharing. Remember, if you have 5 founders, if everybody is 20%, this is not ideal for investors. It is not the right proportion. The CEO and founder should have the biggest share and not equal share all the time. So this is something, it's a big topic. I can talk about it in future sharing. Next, if you want to meet investors, prepare your pitch. And pitch preparation is very important. Go through all the competition and get people to help you to understand and help you to prepare a better pitch. Next, valuation. Valuation, just now I asked you already. Every round, how many percent are you willing to give to the investors? 10 to 20% is the best. So stick to that. So if you do 10 to 20%, what is your valuation finally? You have to consider one more thing, okay? What is the next round valuation? If the next round valuation is only 1.2 times, it is no good. If it's 2 times, you will meet the investors' needs because the investors require 50% per year of increase in their returns. So 2 times is a good timing. So remember, if you go for a very high valuation at this round, example, 100 million. The next round, can you hit 200 million? If you are not able to hit 200 million, you will not find investors. So make sure your valuation for this current round can help you to go to at least 2 times. So if it's 80 million, it is next round, I hope to achieve 160 million. And that's very good, okay? If it's 60 million, it's 120 million. So I think 120 million is easier to achieve than 160 million, right? So unless you are very sure that your product or your market suddenly grow very fast, okay? All this you can be sure, more sure as time goes by. So valuation is very important. Next, if you have accounts that are audited, great. If not, it's okay because you are a startup and your accounts, if you are a seed company, your seed stage or angel investor stage, not much accounts except expenses and so on. So it's easy. Okay, just now I said, have you do a due diligence on your potential investors? If you have, then when you ask them for money, make sure you know how to ask. What else can they help you other than providing money? And this is important because all the resources you can get in a startup is very valuable. Don't miss any of these potential resources. Will the investor hold a board seat or as an observer in the board? So if he's a critical investor, that means he can bring in a lot of resources, then it's good that you give him a board seat so that you can engage him all the time to help you, okay? If he is very good, but you got not enough board seat, so get them on as an observer in the board. Because as an observer, he will attend board meetings. So in other words, you can still ask him for help. So do think about that. And one thing you have to be very concerned, your term sheet. And prepare your term sheet with experts. Don't stingy， that means 冇慳錢啊！呢個 term sheet 你最好係有個律師嚟幫手，因為律師會幫你保護你嘅公司，律師會俾你好多好嘅意見。咁呢啲錢咧冇慳 ，OK？Next， avoid valuation based on achieved milestones。中文講對賭協議千萬不要 ，OK？ 對賭協議千萬不要 ，OK？At one time it was very popular many years ago, and then there were big problems, and then all the people stopped using 對賭協議。Then next it came back again because people forgot. So remember, don't agree with the investors for valuation based on future milestones. That means if I hit 10 million sales, then I get this valuation. Don't do that kind of things. Okay, now Q&A. Feel free to let me know your questions. If you have any questions, please ask. 你有咩問題你可以問我。Okay. Hello. Hi, Alfred. Son, 4 questions. What is it? Can the host unmute your speaker? Wow, all the questions coming in. Let me chase the question one by one. OK， 种子轮什麼渠道尋找投資者？除了問親人。OK， 喺seed round 有咩渠道揾到投資者？你喺 seed round 咧，我哋中文大學咧有 Pi Center， 你參加我哋嘅 Pi Center， 你入到嚟咧，我哋會幫你揾嗰啲angel investors。咁係你唔係喺中文大學咧，你去 Science Park， 佢 Science Park 都有嗰啲人幫你嘅。佢有一班專家嚟幫你揾呢啲投資者，好冇？咁Science Park Incubator or Step Program or Cyberport 嘅 CCMF 呢啲係Proof of Concept Fund，OK？ Okay, next question. If not based on milestone, David Wong, if not based on milestone for valuation, what other approaches of valuation? Okay, there are many other approaches. Okay, so there is one approach that VCs use, I'm familiar with, is that they have to do a 5-year projection. And this projection is until from break-even to profitable till IPO. So it might be more than 5 years. So after you get the IPO stage, there is a valuation based on the net profit after tax and the PE ratio at that time. Okay? All this is years ahead. Then you present value it back. That means you work it backwards to where you are now. And that's the valuation now. Okay? So this is something that people work with. Of course, there are other valuation methods, but this is one of the main methods or mainstream methods used. And then there is one that is how much R&D money is put into building this IP and technology for the startup. And that is also one way of doing it. Okay? Okay, let me try to see because of the questions. I hope I won't miss anybody's question because the questions are a lot. Okay, next. This is a question on from Alfred asking, how's the valuation model for different startup sectors? Okay, if you are meaning fintech, biotech, and medtech, yes, they are different. It's quite complicated and it's not easy to talk to you like that. But basically, medtech, because they have to go through clinical trials to get FDA or Chinese FDA approval. So there is a lot of uncertainty, and each stage of the trials or clinical trials or preclinical trials, the valuation is different. And then drug or therapeutic for life science is also different. And it's based on the number of pipelines you have for your drug. Next, for other fintech, fintech is usually, we call it internet-based or digital. And so the PE is different, and it depends on the number of users and so on. So it's a complicated model, which I'll be happy to talk about it next time. Sorry, we don't have much time to talk about it. I only give you a flavor, Alfred. Okay, Ellie Ao, may I know the investor expect how many percentage share owned by the CEO is proper? Okay, if a professional investor is looking at a startup, they could want the CEO to have a big enough share proportion that is meaningful, that will help the company to go until IPO. And of course, if the CEO hasn't got the big proportion now, there should be enough stock option to give to him at different milestones of the company when he achieves it. So in that way, the CEO could be highly incentivized. And this is also a big topic, and I can talk to you about this if you want to, because this is rather, I have to show you the calculation on why it should be done that way. And of course, you see, if a CEO is not given shares or enough shares, then you have to pay a lot to bring him to the market compensation rate. That means you have to give a lot of salary and so on, and bonuses. As a startup, how much funding do you have for this? So this is something to consider. Okay, I hope I can just give you an appetizer on this. Okay, Rachel to everyone, 请问是否需要在特点时间去 Pi Center? Okay, Pi Center is normally open, okay, to those who submitted their application and approved to join us. Every year we have 2 intakes, one in February, March, and the other one in October, November. So these 2 intakes, do submit your business plan. Alex to everyone, 很多时我们听到估值这个，我们有些渠道可帮一间公司估值吗？有哪些渠道 ？OK， 估值这个有一点困难，因为它不是这么简单，要看整体的。There are FAs. FAs are people who not only look for investors for you, but they also do something like help you to do the valuation, but you have to pay them. So you can look for them. Okay, Alfred. Let's say nowadays, how's the valuation for social media business? I heard that for one active ARD for 1,000 Hong Kong dollar for one active user. Would you like to know more about that? Okay, the ARD is 1,000 Hong Kong dollar. It is a kind of a figure that people believe it is. So one way is to look at some of the analysts who do social media companies that are valued in the stock exchange in US and Hong Kong. Use them as reference. Analysts who are experts in this area, they have an idea. Then talk to investors as well. A lot of investors, especially those investors who invest in social media business, they would understand that very well. So that's another channel to look for. Because of time is running fast, I try to answer. In a startup team, what sort of requirements should be met, such as personality, ability for the startup to succeed? Team building is a very big topic. If you come to Pi Center, we have a topic called team building, and I'll help you to look at all this. Yes, personality is important, but you build the personality around the culture of the CEO or character of the CEO. And this is important because the CEO has a certain character and he must build it around him. A good example is look at a football team. If 那个足球队Messi 你们很熟 Messi 在Barcelona 的 team. They built the team around him so that they can support him to score. So that's the same idea. So personality, ability of the team, ability of each of the members, how they complement each other. 每个核心的团队员怎么样互补 Okay? So all this the CEO must be clear about. And I used to sit on board of companies, and when I sit on board of companies, I always try to help the CEO to look at all this and help them to form the team. Okay, we move on to the next question. Okay, 如何在短时间内我们因为大家互相不认识，我们怎么样能在近短的内成为我们长久 Okay, in a very short time, how can you get to know one another? You can get to know one another by working in a stressful condition in terms of working on a project. So that's the best way to know one another, because when you are working in a project under stress, you will see the character of each person. So that's the best way. If you just have coffee and talk to one another, you don't know the actual person. Okay? And of course, you should also try to understand 对方的思想嘅价值观同埋value system and so on. That could help you. Okay? 要做 legal terms 应该哪一种律师？我还有5分钟。I have only 我有5分鐘啊。律師很重要，律師好重要。律師咧又愛識做嗰啲 startup 嘅法corporate laws or legal documents， 因為律師有好多種嘅，大公司嘅律師同埋做呢個startup 嘅公司嘅律師咧唔一樣 ，OK？ 佢睇嘅嘢唔一樣，佢重點唔一樣。咁第二咧，佢做 startup 嘅公司嘅律師咧，佢知道市場係點，即係講下佢好似頭先我講對賭協議佢會知道而家唔興啦，佢會知道有啲人喺度逼緊，即係有好多人要呢個，但係個個唔反對佢會知道呢啲嘢。好 ，Number 3， 可不可以再解釋一點對賭協議？對賭協議係真嘅冇攞，因為佢要你達到一啲 milestone， 好似你達到幾多個 sales， 幾高嘅 sales， 幾多嘅客呢啲嘢，因為係個對賭協議係你可以自己整嘅，好似我話我要整好呢個產品，你可以接受。 因為係靠你自己嘅，係你講啊，我要賣幾多 sales 哦 ，achieve 幾多嘅 sales， 呢個好 risky， 因為咧客人唔買咧，你搞唔掂噶啦。How do you suggest equity to be split among founders, given that all founders contribute similarly? No such thing as similarly. Everyone is important, but each part they contribute is different. And this one, I can, if there is time, we may do a presentation on it or talk on it and give you more idea, because it's not so simple. When you deal with a relationship in a founding team, it is very sensitive, and it's very important to deal with it when the company is very young. So do look out for topics on this from Pi Center or Venture Acceleration. We will let you know. Is there any other compensation to other founders if equity needed to be concentrated to one major founder? There are many ways to do it. One way is compensation. Another way is to hold in trust. Look at Huawei. Mr. Ren, he has only 2 or 3%, but he controls the whole company. So there are many different ways. And finally, I want to thank you for joining CUEA's Happy Hour Entrepreneurship Talk. And time flies. This is the last talk of the second round of Happy Hour. And good news, don't be sad, because there will be a third round of Happy Hour. We will announce it on AAO's Facebook page and CUEA's website. So do stay tuned, and if you want us to improve, give us feedback. We will try to improve to you are the customer, to make you satisfied. So hope to see you again in the next round. Goodbye, and have a beautiful Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless.